Hi, my name's Novel Smith. Thank you for tuning into my video again today. I've been away for a few weeks, but I'm back and happy to go through the blues scale with you today. So we'll be looking at what is the blues scale. We'll also look at relative minors as well, which I'll go into. And most importantly, how to use this blues scale when it comes to solo and improvisation. So we'll pick the key of C as that's the easiest on the piano. So we know the C major scale, but I'll just go through it. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, which brings you back to C. Now the blues scale uses some of the black notes on the piano outside of your regular major scale. So it starts with C, then you have E flat, then F, F sharp, G, B flat, and C. Now it's the mixture of these black notes which means that it moves in between what would be the major scale of C and the minor scale of C, and that's what gives it the rich tones which makes it work so well, in particular when you're soloing with blues, R&B. It has a bit of a feeling that it's going against the chords but then also with it at the same time. Now just noting all the black notes in that scale, you have E flat, F sharp, and B flat. So it's almost every other note within this blues scale that hits a black note. In other words, outside of the major scale. Now this can prove problematic if you're playing songs where you want your soloing to move along with your chords. In other words, not clash with those chords that you're playing. So the good thing is though, with every major scale that you play on the piano, you have what's known as a relative minor scale. And basically that means that you're playing a minor key, but it's using the same notes that you would in your major scale. So let's take C for example. Here's C. That's the C major scale. However, if I go down a minor third, that's 3 semitones, so 1, 2, 3, I end up at A. If I play those same notes that are in C, you now have an A minor scale. So it's a relative to the C major scale. It's related because it uses the same notes, but it's starting now from A. So that's the relative minor. And thankfully, that same principle applies with the blues scale as well. If I now play the blues scale in A, you'll notice that most of these notes will fall in the C major scale in terms of the keys that are used. Here we go. A, C, D, E flat, E, G, and A. So out of all of those notes, there's only one note that doesn't occur in the C major scale, which is E flat. So it would be fair to say that the A blues scale would be more suited for playing songs in the key of C because only one note falls outside of the C scale. So yeah, that's what I'm going to experiment with right now as I play the A blues scale over some chord progressions. So let's look at what these chords will be. I will first do an F major 7 chord. So I've got here F here with my bass, A, C, E. Then I'll go to an E augmented or raised fifth. So I've got E here with my bass. Then G sharp, C, and E. I've got an A minor 7 chord. So A with the bass, G, C, and E. And a G minor 7 chord. So G with the bass, and F, B flat, and D. So I'll play this to time and then we'll work out how we're going to solo on the top. Okay, so we've got 4 chord progressions there that will keep going in a loop. So we just have to look at what we're going to do with our A blues scale. So here are the notes, so that we've got them. A, G, E, E flat, D, C, then back to A. Now I'm just going to do a descending run first of all as some improv around these chords. So we'll try that first and then notice how I include this scale in the chord progression. Okay, so that was a descending A blues scale over that improvisation. So now we'll look at another technique where I'm not just using one note at a time, but I have another note next to it just to give it a bit more flavor and a bit more movement. So the key thing to remember with soloing is if you're in a particular key, like we're in C, I know that this one will be the most important note because that's known as a tonic or the basic note of the key you're in. But the second most important note is the note that's 5 notes above it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's G. That's known as the dominant. You hear that quite often when people refer to the dominant 7 and things like that when they're talking about chords. So now for this improvisation, I'm going to be using the notes in the blues scale, but I'll also be adding the tonic and the dominant as well. So here's an example. That's an idea that I'm using the blues scale with. So I'm going from G to A and then back to G and then D to E, but then D, E flat, D and C. But the E flat is a bit like a grace note, not necessarily sounded fully. It's just a case of an added note in between, like that. So I'll show you that with the chord sequence. And now this time I will add in those extra notes. So now rather than just playing the G to A, my little finger now will add the tonic, but this time I'm using the high C. So it sounds like this. So as long as you remember to keep the tonic held down, the high note throughout, then it sounds like that. Then for the next part, I've now moved to the 5th note, which is the dominant, G. Here's it without it. Now I include it. Again, it's the same technique. I'm holding down my little finger just to give it that extra something. I know that this is a technique which will take a lot of practice, but once you've got it, you can use it in so many different ways. So it's definitely worth getting used to doing it. So this time I'll play the chord progressions and now add in the extra note using the tonic and the dominance. So thank you once again for watching. If you've liked this video, please like and subscribe to my channel and click the bell so that you're notified of any new videos, and hopefully I'll see you soon on the next video.